From being at the very top of the fragrance world to losing his mind and his fans in just a few years with his weird behavior, my name's Ryan, and today we're looking at the story of Jeremy Fragrance and how his entire life and career fell apart one after the other. Jeremy Fragrance was one of the most unique success stories on YouTube. Real name Daniel Stradinsky, Jeremy carved out an unexpected niche for himself, reviewing perfumes. He started his YouTube channel all the way back in 2014, where he would just review perfumes while also sharing his life behind the scenes as a model. Dressed in sharp suits and starting every video with his iconic spin, Jeremy wasn't just describing colognes. He was selling a lifestyle. He had an uncanny ability to communicate scent through a screen, something very few people had achieved on YouTube back then.
Two fragrances for you to show. For example, this is a Dark Rebel Rider, which smells like a Harley Davidson man. It smells like tobacco, leather, and whiskey. And this one, Spice Bomb. This smells like an explosion of spices, super dominant, super aggressive, but super bold and somehow sexy.
Fans would frequently comment saying, "This guy can make you hear smells." Whether it was a seductive evening cologne or a clean everyday wear, Jeremy made viewers feel like they could smell it through the monitor. He assigned each different scent their own personality and explained the scent through describing what kind of person he imagines wearing it.
The daring category, okay? This is your daring fragrance, and ladies love a man that is bold, that is daring, because you need to have courage.
In addition to his good looks and confident character, he often interviewed female models to get their opinions on different perfumes to judge what's the best choice to wear for a certain occasion. Being able to watch women's reactions to men's fragrances drew millions of viewers to his channel, which grew to over 2 million subscribers in just a few years and amassing 10 million followers on TikTok. Another thing that separated Jeremy from other YouTubers was just how genuine he was with his audience, something that was hard to find. His videos would contain no cuts, and even if he had to go off screen for an entire minute, he'd just leave it in the video.
That was really hardcore. I gotta open the door real quick. 1 second, guys. We received some new samples.
And sometimes he'd intentionally go off camera just to do something crazy random.
I will smash my head into the wall now, but not too strong.
And fans would just wait patiently instead of clicking off just because of how hooked they were to him, as one of them commented, "I love how this guy is just himself. He's unapologetic, answers the door in the middle of a video, slams his head into the wall, checks his mic to make sure it's recording, etc. So good." But fame, especially when built on intensity and image, can be a double-edged sword. And for Jeremy, the cracks began to show. Jeremy's confidence and grace always made him seem trustworthy to his audience, with people going as far as saying, "You could literally sell me air and I'd buy it." But he decided to abuse the trust of his loyal followers when he started his Patreon to ask fans for their support, claiming he needs money to buy a new laptop to edit his videos. However, fans were shocked when just weeks later, he made a post titled, "My New Car."
And today I'm going to sign the contract for my new car, a Ferrari 458 Italia.
He then proceeded to buy the Ferrari, something that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, while he had been pretending to be financially struggling to even afford his own laptop. Fans were understandably upset that they got lied to and used, and Jeremy made it even worse by deleting negative comments under his video to the point where only positive comments remained. However, fans started discussing it in the comments of a re-upload, saying he literally begged for donations and then went and bought a Ferrari with them. It's sad and disingenuous. I hope he looks in the mirror one day and sees what he has become. Although, years later, he revealed that he had changed his ways and sold the Ferrari.
I got rid of my second most important valuable materialistic possession, which was the red Ferrari.
But he still never addressed the main issue, which was how he lied to his loyal fans and took advantage of their money for personal gain. This would only end up foreshadowing the kind of person Jeremy was becoming, as his popularity only began to skyrocket from there. However, Jeremy's career came under fire once again when he attended an event hosted by the New York Young Republican Club, where Donald Trump was a key speaker. Jeremy posted Instagram stories alongside two German far-right figures, Alexander Klein, a 31-year-old YouTuber and prominent activist within the German branch of the identification movement, and David Bendels, a 38-year-old editor-in-chief of the Deutschland Courier, known for his ties to the right-wing populist party Alternative for Germany. In another picture, he also posed with the Austrian right-wing politician and TV commentator Gerald Gross. After these selfies surfaced on Jeremy Fragrance's Instagram stories, multiple major brands, including Sky Deutschland and Aldi Nord, publicly ended their relationships with him and removed content or ads featuring him. His publisher, Heel Verlag, also dropped him, stating it would not reprint his books or work with him further. Jeremy was also on the verge of making a major deal that fell through.
I should have had a big money deal with a German fragrance chain, which would have given me about 300,000 to up to more than $1 million. And it just exploded because I was in a show where I took pictures with multiple people, and one of those guys was a right-wing guy.
On December 21st, 2018, at the peak of his career, Jeremy decided to use his experience with fragrances to create his very own perfume brand, Fragrance One, where he collaborated with the legendary perfumer Alberto Marias, who has designed perfumes for brands such as Calvin Klein, Giorgio Armani, Marc Jacobs, and many more. Together with Jeremy, they created Fragrance One's very first perfume, something that seemed very promising.
So this will be called Office for Men. It is our very first fragrance, the best office fragrance currently on the market in my eyes.
And his idea behind the brand was quite innovative, to make it easy for people to find the best perfume for every occasion without being overwhelmed by the number of options on the market.
I have tried to find the best solution for you to skip the jungle of fragrances when you go into a fragrance store. Oh, which fragrance should I take? Does this last long? Is this mass appealing? Do I get compliments? What fragrance should I buy?
And thus began the start of Jeremy's Kickstarter campaign, as he needed his loyal fans' crowdfunding to turn his perfume into an actual company and bring it to the market. His campaign had a goal of 25,000 euros, which was achieved within just minutes of posting his video. Even after the goal was reached, people continued to donate money, raising it to a staggering 800,000 euros, making it the highest crowdfunded fragrance in history. And his dream of starting a perfume brand finally turned into reality, and Jeremy started his aggressive marketing campaign. Office for Men was initially planned to launch at a price of about 39 euros or $45, but before the release, Jeremy decided to significantly increase the price, stating he felt the fragrance felt more worthy than a 39 euro perfume. When it finally launched, the price was already very high at around $160 for a 100 milliliter bottle, comparable to many luxury perfume brands. However, things took a turn for the worse when people started calling him a scam artist after he suddenly decided to triple the prices on February 4th, 2019, very soon after releasing the perfumes.
Why the price of my fragrance will be tripled soon. Fragrances to me are like an art form, and some cars to the extent are also an art form. And what does a car manufacturer do? They produce a very small amount of cars to make them exclusive. We will also produce a small amount to keep us exclusive.
But that didn't make much sense, as this was supposed to be a simple office fragrance, not something that cost a fortune. Even more suspicious was how cheap the production was compared to the actual price on the market.
First, you buy the glass bottle. The glass bottle is about 50 cents, 50. Then you got the sprayer right here. This is another 50 cents. So we're at a $1. Then you got the cap. This is another 50 cents. Then you got the box around it, which is another 50 cents. So you're at $2 now for this empty stuff. You need the juice inside. The juice is the most expensive one. It's about $3. So 3 plus 2 is $5. And then you pay for the whole packaging, so it must be filled and everything. So that's another $1. So about $6 in total, and you have a finished fragrance.
But Jeremy was justifying the high price by comparing it to a priceless artwork.
As you know, a Picasso painting or some other champagne is also very low in production, but it's not the actual value of it. So don't underestimate the actual value of a fragrance.
Right now, his most expensive fragrance sells with a hefty $559 price tag, and despite Jeremy's justifications, most people in the fragrance community consider his perfumes way overpriced and not something reasonable for an average consumer. People started mocking his perfume, saying it was an absolute scam. As if that wasn't already bad enough, stories started surfacing of people ordering his perfume online and getting ghosted and never receiving his perfume, not even being able to contact customer service about it. However, this was barely the start of his problems, as over the next few years, Jeremy's entire online empire came crashing down. Jeremy always seemed like he was the most well put together influencer on the platform, wearing a freshly pressed suit and looking charming all the time. However, his content changed drastically in 2023 when he suddenly grew religious and his posts became very different from his usual style.
I'm Jeremy Fragrance, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus. Nobody has done what I have done in the fragrance industry. I'm the best in the category of fragrances. I'm Jeremy Fragrance, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus.
And he switched completely to a white outfit wearing a cross on his neck. Gone were his days of elegance and grace. He now had hollow eyes and a face that seemingly aged over 10 years in just a few months. His new brand motto was Jeremy Fragrance, #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus, which was something he commented and pinned on all of his own videos. This drastic behavior change was a huge shock to his old fans, as they commented saying what happened to him these years. His fame over the years had gone to his head, and he viewed himself as the best fragrance influencer of all time, despite all the controversies and questionable behavior on his part.
But I'm the best #1 influencer, you could say. So
#1
of course.
of all time?
Hello, I'm the first of my kind in that scale.
Jeremy also started posting bizarre and questionable pictures of himself on Instagram, but as short-form content took over the world, he also transitioned to creating YouTube Shorts and TikToks. He started posting the same unusual clip of him 5 times in a row to see which one performed the best before deleting the others. However, he soon found out the best way to stand out was to do something completely unexpected and unhinged, and that's exactly the direction he went for, starting with funny and strange clips of himself, to slightly weird dances that left fans confused and questioning all their life choices, to unnecessarily sexualized perfume reviews, to whatever on earth is going on here. People started growing more and more concerned, commenting things like, the behavior he is displaying is that of someone who is struggling with either substance abuse or has a mental illness. It's very sad considering how he was when he first started out. It wasn't always just about perfumes, sometimes it was even about food and drinks, like his passionate response to certain cooking ingredients.
Oh, this is literally my favorite smell. You know what this is? It's ghee.
And his overly emotional reaction to Nutella, which just showed how much his expertise in fragrances had deteriorated, as just a few years ago he had said this.
Here, gentlemen, imagine this smells like the tastiest Nutella fragrance you can imagine, if you like the taste of the chocolate.
And now all of his content had turned into slop with no real value. But unlike his reaction to Nutella, his reaction to pizza took things to a whole nother level.
The smell of pizza. Okay, let's smell it. I want to have sex with this pizza.
As did his unusual obsession with human milk.
Milk is the most similar to mother's milk. It smells so gorgeous. Oh, yes! Yeah! It smells trustworthy because butter is similar to mother's milk a little bit. Oh, I post this on TikTok so I can't be too explicit.
Given his new appearance and bizarre behavior, people started calling him a nicer, hornier German Homelander, but his fans were starting to get genuinely worried, saying things like, is this man okay? And the concerns only grew after he posted shirtless videos of himself where despite being muscular, he looked sick and very thin. This was a huge difference when compared to how he looked at his peak, and fans were begging him to take care of his health, saying, bro, you don't look healthy for real, and please Jeremy, it's time to start the bulk. talk. When confronted about his behavior, he'd only have a narcissistic breakdown in front of the camera.
And I got the six-pack, I got the good vibes, I got the red Ferrari, I got the golden Rolex, I'm a millionaire, I love what I do, I say fuck you in your f***ing ass if I want to say that.
As his videos started getting more erratic and his health also seemed to be headed downhill, his fans started speculating about what had happened to him, saying things like, "I think him inhaling all those fragrances has damaged his brain," while the majority suspected Jeremy had started taking drugs, with every bizarre video getting comments like, "A solid 18 lines today." However, he denied all the drug accusations, claiming he behaves this way intentionally just for views.
I know what works, of course. I know that the jumping energy person works a lot, and I do it without any drugs. It's very good for me.
Have you ever done drugs?
No, never in my life I've taken any drugs except drinking alcohol.
And that he doesn't mind being accused of doing drugs by his viewers.
One question that always comes up, how many lines did you have today?
I see that as a compliment. As many guys that used to approach women when they were younger, at least in Germany.
He then made a video just to reassure his fans, but they only pointed out the ridiculous scenery that was taking place in the video, saying as he walks down streets shirtless, eating protein powder off lettuce in a cardboard box. People were instead taking this as confirmation of him being on drugs. Another piece of evidence was how even his long-form videos started getting weirder over time, where sometimes in the middle of a fragrance review, he'd just make a super weird comment.
Perry Alice 360 Red. I love it, man. It's the dildo of the fragrance industry.
And then completely break character and go off on a tangent.
Yeah, it's not so funny actually. Still don't know how to talk about the topic of masturbating.
Finally realizing that he has overshared, he'd quickly wrap up the topic and proceed as if nothing had happened.
Alright, ultimately of course I want to have a girlfriend and a wife. Turning that girlfriend into a wife and have great kids.
Without even reviewing the scent he was supposed to talk about, leaving fans questioning and saying, so overall, the fragrances of loneliness and edging, it wasn't just a one-time behavior, as his videos often feature stranger marks coming out of nowhere.
I'm not gonna say have sex with all of you girls, but I wanna have like high five to all of you guys. And I love this, baby. I just jerked off a little bit, not to the sense that I came, but it gives me a certain type of a strength. And the night, I want to tongue kiss a sexy woman right now. Oh man.
And sometimes it even crosses a line of what should be allowed to be on a random fragrance video on YouTube.
Today I did not jerk off before my video, which I normally do, but I keep my semen to have a maximum impact in my face. You gotta handle and understand your sexual energy. Gives you ultimate power. It gives you the strength to convince people.
As more and more people started noticing his bizarre behavior, he was soon getting called out for being the strangest man on the internet, which led him to getting invited to various podcasts and interviews where his weird behavior continued, like the time he casually got up and did push-ups in the middle of an interview.
I say it in English. It's written M-A-Y-B-E. Whenever I said that, I did push-ups to punish myself. 20.
It seems like Jeremy's antics had led him to escape the fragrance niche, and now the entire internet was watching his weird behavior and laughing at him, and as one viewer commented, Jeremy has gone from a fragrance reviewer to a comedian. This sort of weird behavior not only affected his personal image on the internet, but also impacted his brand, Fragrance One. Although Jeremy had been the one promoting and marketing the perfumes, the company was actually founded by both him and his brother Camille Bank, where Jeremy was the face of the company and Camille was the one managing everything behind the scenes. But as Jeremy's mental and physical health changed, so did his marketing tactics in 2022.
What happened is, in May of this year, maybe some of you remember, Jeremy decided to close down the brand. And he did that in a way where he would just go online, as he always does, post a video about it, and then people were asking me like, what's going on, Camille? I said, honestly, I have no idea.
And it seemed like Jeremy was starting to keep his brother out of the loop with what he was doing with the company, just because he wasn't supporting Jeremy's weird behavior.
Jeremy's original reasoning about it was that he wants to be more creative again, he wants to be an artist, and wants to have less bureaucracy. His version of bureaucracy is me being concerned about his mental health and also his effect on the business, to be honest, because the way he's been doing things over the last couple of months and years have not been doing well.
Finally taking it one step further and showing just how selfish and narcissistic he was.
He basically said from one day to the other, Camille, you're out and you should do your own thing. There's healthy ways to disagree and to separate. However, the way he did it, this was extremely disrespectful and very problematic.
Not only had Jeremy been rude and hurtful, he had also betrayed the trust of his own brother and business partner.
This being a family business, I decided to not sign any paperwork and just be cool with Jeremy's handshake agreement and my handshake agreement on a certain equity split, and I guess I learned from that.
Camille, who has his own YouTube channel called Cents with Benefits, eventually managed to acquire a few products from Jeremy to sell them on his own website, where it's much cheaper compared to the ridiculously high prices that Jeremy sells at. This earned Camille the respect of the fragrance community, while Jeremy only garnered more concern as people were saying, man, it's sad to see how much Jeremy has lost his way. Doing your family dirty like that is just wrong. He definitely needs help and I hope he gets it somehow. Eventually, he announced that he was shutting down his fragrance once and for all in an Instagram post saying, goodbye to my fragrances, selling all my current stock and it won't be reproduced anymore, and offering a 60% discount code on all of his products. However, this wasn't the first time he was claiming to shut down his fragrance, as he had already made several posts with the exact same picture in the past, saying the exact same thing, and fans began to call him out saying, again, he's closing the business like 5 times a year. His behavior only led fans to speculate that Jeremy was perhaps lying about the discontinuation just to urge fans to spend $600 buying his perfumes, with some of them commenting, bro needs more coke money. And this only got further proven when he posted a new video on July 26, 2025 titled My Fragrance Journey Continues, where he showed no signs of ever stopping production. Although Jeremy's religious awakening had been one of the major turning points of his career, his religious appearance became a bit questionable as he continued to post things that don't really look religious, and despite wearing a cross on his neck, his YouTube videos kept being inappropriate.
And you know what I just did 5 minutes ago? I stimulated my penis. Not that I came, but I was on my Instagram, I was chatting with girls, and blah.
When confronted about this by his brother,
you always say you're the #1 fragrance icon following the teachings of Jesus. Some of the stuff that I see, how do you console that part with showing your schlong in half of your Instagram posts?
Then
what's the correct way?
If you think about a person like an actor that is in a stripper movie, and or some guy that is actually married but has sex in a movie with another woman, is that actually correct to do as a Christian?
Although a lot of his fans believe Jeremy was just playing up this persona for the internet to get more views, more evidence of his creepy behavior surfaced in 2018 when model Sarah Harris posted an Instagram story exposing Jeremy's private messages to her on Snapchat, where he was clearly flirting and making inappropriate comments towards her, like saying, "You hot woman, you know what I do with you after we have our dinner in a fine restaurant together and you wear your sexy dress." But Sarah wasn't interested in him, so she politely rejected him by saying it's not gonna happen. But instead of backing down, Jeremy went all in and responded with, "It will happen intensely, babe. You will wear a pretty black dress and show your chest like you always do. I'll kiss you and press you down and open my business suit pants. You start sucking my rooster then for 2 minutes." Seems like instead of taking the hint, Jeremy was doubling down, thinking her attractive outfits automatically gave him the green light to degrade her like that, which she once again politely declined by saying, "That's a dream you have, it will never happen. I might look sexual, but I'm not a hoe." After seeing that doubling down had clearly failed, Jeremy got angry and started attacking her personally by saying things like, "You are not 18 years old and you know time is passing. You use your time now wisely and choose the best people for you, for the future, and for BJs you give. You know which great men deserve great things from you." As Sarah got understandably mad at these personal assumptions and ridiculous attacks, relax, Jeremy decided to end the conversation by saying, "Have fun in life, the clock is ticking. You should blow a man now to get your validation back that I took from you." After Sarah posted these screenshots online to expose him, Jeremy's reputation in the community started falling apart quickly, with people commenting, "I definitely believe he's pressured girls plenty of times. He's a total lunatic and narcissist." Seeing the damage to his ego, he immediately tried to call her to fix things, but Sarah wasn't the type of girl to give someone as disrespectful as Jeremy another chance. This left him with no choice but to further prove his narcissistic side by texting her on Instagram to manipulate her and try to act like the victim instead. He said, "You have put me in depression with your accusations. I was thinking about suicide because of your accusations," and even tried to guilt trip her by saying, "I wanted to kill myself and quit my YouTube business because of you." However, his tactics failed miserably, and Sarah, to her credit, didn't budge under his pressure at all, and people online started calling him out by saying, "Dude is a certified effing clown." Jeremy's creepy side showed up once again years later when he grew tired of waiting to find a life partner, and he decided to take matters into his own hands and post on TikTok.
So I'm looking for a girlfriend. You must be Christian and you must be under 32.
And eventually changing up the criteria to fit his vision of a partner.
Christian, under 32, and the characteristics of a supportive woman that lets the man be the man, and she as a woman has the housewife attitude while still being a super sexy woman.
Those who did meet his criteria, he added them on Snapchat of all places and started sending them videos of himself, asking them to send videos back to verify themselves.
Hi Sophia, I asked for a video of you. Can you send me a video of you saying something like, "Hi Jeremy"?
And sometimes he would even address girls mocking their physical appearance.
Hey, pretty woman with the intense teeth.
Before moving on to inappropriate questions.
And is it possible at your age that you're still a virgin, Maria?
Not only were his questions uncalled for, but his behavior was downright creepy and vulgar.
I gotta interrupt your video. I got totally a boner seeing your face and seeing you talk. Totally a boner in my pants, but I'm not going to show it.
And most of these girls were just above the legal age of 18 years old, which was almost half of Jeremy's age, and he was calling them ultra young. Not only was he sharing disgusting details of his erections with these girls, but he was also asking them questions such as, "Will you swallow my if you want to, Rory? Yes or yes, babe?" As well as trying to convince these young girls to send him nudes, saying,
Later without the top that you're wearing now would be an interesting picture, Corey.
and "I want to see even without underwear and just your hand in front of your you-know-what. Send me that when you go now to restroom, Corey." This shed light on his religious act as people began calling him out, saying this is not the teaching of Jesus. Even during his usual street interviews with women, sometimes his behavior would seem a bit strange.
Is it okay that I smell you real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I
You don't have a fragrance on.
And as this commenter pointed out, he went for the sniff even before she said yes. While others thought this was just Jeremy's desperation to get a girlfriend, sarcastically commenting, "You're telling me the man in his 30s who is desperate for a partner but can't seem to get one behaves weirdly around women? Who could have foreseen this?" Today, Jeremy Fragrance is barely recognized as the same creator that once dominated the fragrance space on YouTube. His content has spiraled into a chaotic mix of repetitive catchphrases, recycled videos, and bizarre antics that feel more like meme bait rather than meaningful reviews. His unique energy, brutally honest takes, and deep knowledge of fragrances has buried under non-stop promotion of his own perfume line. There's no real value in his content anymore. The same titles, the same ratings, the same white suit. It's like watching an endless loop. Once known for influencing buying decisions and introducing niche scents to the mainstream, Jeremy's opinions no longer hold weight. Viewers don't trust him to be objective because almost every video circles back to plugging his own product. But his fans in the fragrance community still love and miss him, and they're always watching his old videos and leaving comments saying, "I miss this version of you, Jeremy," and "Prime Jeremy, you used to be my hero. Miss him so much." If you like this video, you'll probably enjoy these next ones as well, and don't forget to subscribe.